What's up, YouTube? We are back working on the Corvette Z. Today we're just going to button up some things. Like we got to get the motor centered and tighten all that stuff up. And then I think we're going to try to do some of the fuel stuff. I got some of the fuel fittings showed up today, so we'll try to finish up the fuel stuff. I know the fuel video already came out, but we're going to be finishing that because we can only go so far. But for the most part, this video we're going to be buttoning things up. So basically all we're checking here is we're just going to make sure this motor is centered. If it's not centered, we will shift it however we need to. But if it is centered, we'll start by tightening the bottom of the engine brackets, then the transmission brackets. Then we can do the actual engine mounts to the U bracket. We can tighten those. But basically we're just going to take a measurement from inner frame rail to center of pulley or center of crank bolt. I know our pulley's not on yet. So we'll go ahead and take our measurement real quick. We're going to go from inner frame rail to here, and it's about 15 and an 8. We'll go from inner frame rail again, and it's about 15. So we're, I would say, in the neighborhood of a 16th and an 1/8 of an inch off. But that's going to be good enough for me. I'm not going to try to push this motor one way for less than an 1/8 of an inch. We're just going to call it good. It's a little cold out today, so I got the heater going. Very unusual. It's been pretty warm, and then all of a sudden it just Alright, so now that those are in tight, we'll just go ahead and take another quick measurement. As long as we're within an 1/8 of an inch, I don't really care. I think it's going to be close enough. It looks like we moved a little bit. That's more like just shy of 15. Might be an 1/8 inch shy of 15. But also I checked in a different area there. So we're about the same. So what would that be? I think that's 11/16, I think. So, yeah, we're right on the money. Let me see, I'll show you guys this real quick. Right on the money. So I'm looking kind of here in this area. So we're right here on this line, about where this nub is. Put you on there a little bit closer. So yeah, so we're hitting about right here. This second to last. We'll flip around, check the other way. And then again, right on that same nub, we're about second to last before 15. So we're actually dead on. So when we tightened those up, it made it tighter, which I wasn't expecting that. I thought once we tightened this motor up, it would settle, but it actually settled to be perfect to where we was probably a 1/16 of an 1/8 inch off when they were loose. So that's great. Couldn't work out any better. So I'm gonna go ahead and button up the trans bolts. Alright, now we're moving on to the engine mounts. They're down here. I don't know how well you can see them. It's a pretty big Allen key. I believe it's a 12mm. So I got that, and then the nut on the back side is a 22mm wrench. So we're going to go ahead and tighten them up real quick. Okay. All right, got bad news, boys. The fuel fittings that I purchased are not right. So that really sucks. I think they're the wrong size. I've seen they're these quick push-on fittings. I don't even know if I have one out. All right, these things. So I was trying to use a stock rail, you know, so you just slide these on. And I bought what the internet said to buy, and they're not long enough. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. They don't go all the way down, so I can't snap it in. So there's let me show you, like right here, like it stops maybe 3/4 of the way up. I don't know if you can see inside there, but basically if I take that fitting out, I can only get it down to about right there before it's butted up, so it's not going all the way down to snap around that thing there. So same way with I was going to try to retain the factory line. I tried pushing this onto the factory line too. Not happening. So I got to go back to the drawing board on that. I'd be honest with you, as simple as this is, I would just do it like a stock style where they just use some hose clamps and some fuel hose. But the way I need to route the fuel line, that won't work, because I really kind of need to do a 90 right off the stock fuel rail and send it back to the firewall and get it over to the regulator and then send it back under the car. So that being said, you can't really do that with just, you know, hose clamp on there. I mean, I'm sure there's like some 90 fittings, but that would start to look really weird. So I gotta go back to the drawing board and figure that out. So this is the regulator that we're gonna use. I picked this up used from a friend, really cheap, couldn't beat it. So I made marks here where those 2 pink dots. I'm gonna drill a hole there and then run these 2 screws through and just mount it directly to the firewall like that. I believe there is some kind of mounting plate, but obviously I got this used and it didn't come with that. So, but we're gonna mount it right here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut a time lapse of setting this thing up, because we gotta take some of this stuff off, and then we will get as much done on here as we can. That's like the worst thing with working on cars. You know, if I had the means to do it and I just have all this stuff on the shelf and whatever, but it's not realistic. And usually most of the auto parts stores where I live at, they just have regular stuff. There's only a handful of speed shops or race shops, and most of the time you got to order what you need anyway. And on top of that, they're pretty far away, so it's like by the time I drive there and then they tell me, oh, we got to order it, and then I drive back home, I've already wasted enough time anyway. So let's go ahead and just keep plugging on what we can do, and we're just going to bust into this fuel regulator. So I ended up finding a bracket that works perfect. Might have to flatten that out a little bit, but this is going to be great. A lot better than what I was going to do. This is going to give me the ability to kind of move the regulator away from the wall and up a little bit. So, you know, this thing's probably going to mount like that, or something like that, or you can flip it around and go like that. So, and is some of the dash 6 fittings I have laying around, because we're going to kind of map this fuel system out, even though we can't really do much, but gonna give me a good idea. And I got some hose from another project, or fuel line from another project that's got a bunch of fittings and stuff on it. It's got some 180s, which might be helpful. So I should have enough fuel line to do what I need to do. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to mounting this thing and setting this stuff up. So upon further review, probably gonna have to change that placement. It will work, but I don't think it's gonna clear the covers, the coil pack covers, which we gotta run those. Come on, man, you gotta have the Corvette covers on this thing. If not, you know, you just got to. So I may play around with this, try to find a different position to put this in. I'll probably get the covers out real quick and set them on the engine and kind of maybe move this thing around. I really like the placement where I wanted to put it just because it's really close to the feed and the return location. So technically I could just run straight off this down to the feed line. And then, you know, I can just loop my return and stuff around together around the back side of the engine and go straight down the firewall, and it's going to be all in centralized location. And I don't have, you know, fuel lines everywhere. So we're going to play with it for a minute and try to figure this out. All right, just to keep you guys in the loop, off camera while I was trying to contemplate what I wanted to do here, I went ahead and added the 2 pulleys that I hadn't had on. So I'll flip these around, I'll show you. It's just I put this tensioner pulley on and also put this little idler pulley on that goes on the alternator bracket. So I just did those 2 while I was kind of justifying what I wanted to do here, but just to keep you up to date. All right, so we got this thing on here real quick. Man, it looks sick. We got to run these. We cannot not run these. And I really don't want to cut on them. I just found out, too, that the lS1 throttle body stuff, unless I can flip it over, maybe if I can do that, I won't know until I start working with the throttle cable stuff. But it goes like this factory. And I really don't want to chip out on those because those are nice. But those valve covers, or not the valve covers, but the coil pack covers, and we still need to be low enough that we're not interfering nothing with the hood or anything. So it's looking like probably somewhere in here is where that's gonna go. I really want to put it here just because of the ease of access. But you know, it's not much clearance there. I mean, that's fine with me, but I don't know about the top. We found a way better spot. You gotta check this out. All right, both covers on now. That's gonna be a problem. We'll fix that later. Not worried about that right now. Task at hand here. Check this out. Bam. Perfect. And then there we go with your feed, the initial feed, wrap around the car, come into here, come hit the regulator, come out the bottom of the regulator, and hit the fuel rail. Your return, come off, and then connect, not necessarily connect, but I'll be able to secure. Basically, what I'm saying is, I can secure all my fuel lines up here above the headers, come around the back, all the way around the back, and then duck down and hit the stock stuff down there. That's what I'm saying. And I can get a nice clean look. I can run everything kind of underneath here, and you won't see it. You can run it all low. That's the plan. But I really don't want to tear these up because these came off of a 01 Corvette. So what is that, 24-year-old car now? Or 25 if it came out as a 2000 and 2001. Or wait, no, 24. It'd be 24. Anyway, 24-year-old Corvette valve covers. Don't really want to chop them up if I don't have to. But if I can't source something and it's going to be ridiculously expensive, I'll just make me a nice little cut here. I got a little Dremel tool. I'll just grind this down and hopefully you won't notice it. But anyway, yeah, so that's where it's going. We'll go ahead and mount that now. All right, there it is. Worst case scenario, we got to move it. But I think we're going to be okay. I think we can run these lines pretty slick. You know, I mean, it's not a show car, but also we kind of want it to look like we know what we're doing a little bit, because we've spent a lot of money here. So we want this thing to be as clean as possible and be as right as possible. Like I said, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, we can just move it and find a better spot. We're just going to keep plugging on this thing, figure out some more things we can button up while we're trying. You know, it's hard to film this stuff because you never know what you're going to run into. You can do all the research. I've done this swap before on another car, so I kind of already knew what it took to do the swap, but this car is a little bit different. the sizings of lines and stuff are a little bit different. So, you know, it's just one of those things. So I'm trying to do the best job of filming this as I can, but it's so hard when you run into these problems after problem. And the biggest thing I wanted to get to today, which I don't even know if I can get to it. First, to show you guys better representation, what I'm thinking. I may end up buying a different 90. It's a little bit shorter, so it keeps it tighter up here. Because this one was about half of the length. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but it's about half the length. So I might get a shorter 90, just to tighten that up a little bit. And then again, I can just secure my fuel lines all the way around here. And it keeps it low, keeps it tucked in there. And we're gonna have all this open space anyway. And our oil filter relocation bracket may go right here. I gotta get the radiator and stuff back in to make sure before I mount that. But this should be a lot of negative space because the factory air box is gonna go here. And the intake we're gonna have is gonna be pretty short, and it's gonna have a short, it's gonna be a pretty short intake. It's half the size, so. All right, let's check out this power steering. So in order to do this properly, so we don't run into any more issues, I'm gonna mount both headers. So this is gonna go on the passenger side. And they say you can do it from underneath the car. I know a lot of videos are telling you to put one of the, I think it was the passenger side, they say put the header in first. This specific kit, the guys recommend to come up from the bottom. And it's really kind of something we need to do now, because like we still got to do the power steering lines for the pump and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go underneath the car and we're gonna put these headers on real quick. Alright, so the kit comes with exhaust gaskets, which is cool, but it doesn't come with new hardware, and if it did, I didn't get it. So I got some old LS bolts laying around. They're the right thread pitch, the right size for this, so I'm going to put these in just for a time being. I'll probably go source some stainless steel ones or something. All right, so it's in there. It's loosely fitted. I just got like a bolt here, a bolt there, and then we'll go underneath here and I'll show you. I just got one bolt in at the Y pipe just to hold it. It's all loose because like I said, we don't want to finally securely anything yet. We're doing this for mock-up stuff for fuel lines and whatnot. All right, boys. We're underneath the car now. These are the two hard lines that the LS will not clear, or the headers will not clear. So yeah, it's those two hard lines right there. Like I said, the other steering rack, those lines come from the front and wrap around. So what I'm hoping is I can take that top one off there. It's really hard to show you with the camera and being underneath the car like this, but it's that top one. I'm gonna go ahead and bust that off real quick and we'll come back. So this line is a culprit for most people. This is the top line. This always gets smashed when people take motors in and out of the car. Looks like I got into mine just a little bit, but not terrible, but most people just pinch this thing all the way over and a lot of times don't even know it. So I took that top line off and I'm really hoping the header's clear. You can't see from here, but anyway, I'm really hoping the header's clear and then I can just figure out how to make some fittings work. Maybe I can get a 90 and kind of route around if there's enough room for a fitting to get in there for that top one. Even if the bottom one has to come out, if I can get room in there where I can get two 90s and wrap them up and around, we'll be fine. So all right, it's not gonna work. Not gonna work. my hopes and dreams have been crushed right there. I can't get the car up high enough because I'm on jack stands. If I had a lift, I might be able to finagle that header through there, but I can't get the proper angle to get in between the steering column or the steering input there and the rack. So the ISR video shows them guys remove the rack completely when they put this in, but they also had to change the rack because they had the wrong one like me. So I'm just going to cut my losses. I'm going to rip this rack out of here, mount that header, and probably just call it a day for today. And then on the next video, I got another video planned. Hopefully I can get a rack, and then we can do that. So when I was removing the rack, I noticed this is bent. I mean, obviously we've dug into it. That's before I was able to fix my bump stops, so that doesn't happen anymore. But anyway, this thing's bent. All right, so it's out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out of the way, and we'll put that other LS header in, and then I'm probably gonna call it a night because this has ended up taking way longer than I thought. But we'll slap that header on and just feel a little bit good about ourselves for a minute. Felt like we actually did something. All right, so the exhaust is in there. It's all loosely fitted. We got the rack out, so we determined that wasn't gonna work, so we need to source another rack. Went ahead and ordered some tie rods. So we're gonna have to redo all that stuff, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's still more than we wanted to do. But good news is we got some things done today, and we got the exhaust mounted up. Looks pretty cool. It's all stainless steel. So, but anyway, I think that's it for today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. I'm done with it. Gotta take a break. Peace.